18 surprising times Princess Anne showed her cold side to the public. Princess Anne might not be the first royal you think of when it comes to controversy, but she's earned quite a reputation for being one of the bluntest members of the British royal family. Whether it's brushing off reporters, giving cold stares, or delivering brutally honest comments, Princess Anne has shown her frosty side more than a few times. In this video, we're counting down 18 surprising times when Princess Anne didn't hold back and let her true feelings show, even if it meant shocking everyone around her. Forget the royal charm, these are the moments when she made it crystal clear that she's not here to impress anyone. If you've ever wondered what makes her the unapologetic royal, then buckle up. Some of these incidents are about to redefine what you thought about this no-nonsense princess. Number 1. Her unemotional reaction at Diana's funeral. One of the most striking moments that revealed Princess Anne's famously stoic personality was at the funeral of Princess Diana. As the world mourned and even her royal family showed visible signs of grief, Princess Anne stood out for her unemotional demeanor. Some viewed this as a sign of coldness, but those who know Princess Anne's personality understood that she'd never been one to show her emotions publicly. While other royals were visibly shaken by the loss of Diana, Princess Anne remained composed, not shedding a tear. The lack of visible emotion drew public criticism at the time, with many interpreting her reaction as indifference. But to Princess Anne, who's often spoken about her disdain for public displays of emotion, it was likely a reflection of her deep-seated belief in staying strong under pressure. Whether this attitude stemmed from her upbringing or her military background, it's clear that Princess Anne wasn't going to grieve publicly, no matter the public's expectations. Number 2. The time she snubbed reporters asking about her charity work. Princess Anne's always been a woman of action more than words, particularly when it comes to her extensive charity work. But there was one infamous moment when this no-nonsense attitude turned heads. During a public event, a journalist asked her a question about her charity efforts, expecting a thoughtful response. Instead, Princess Anne shot back with a blunt, almost dismissive answer, leaving the reporter and much of the public stunned. Many interpreted her reaction as cold, but this interaction is a glimpse into Princess Anne's mindset. She's never been one to seek out praise or approval, even for her considerable philanthropic efforts. In her view, the work itself is what matters, not the media attention. Her brief response was likely more about avoiding the fanfare and getting back to the work at hand. For Princess Anne, actions will always speak louder than words, and her sharp response was a reminder of that. Number 3. Her cold response to a child giving her flowers. One of the more surprising moments where Princess Anne's frosty side came out was during a public event where a young child handed her flowers. Rather than offering a warm smile or gracious thank you, Princess Anne gave a brief, almost dismissive response. The moment sparked headlines, with many questioning why she would react so coldly to such a sweet gesture. But those familiar with Princess Anne's character knew that she's always been a practical person. While other members of the royal family may delight in public displays of affection, Princess Anne's never been one to put on a show for the cameras. To her, the exchange was likely routine, and she treated it as such, moving quickly along without much fanfare. Whether you see it as cold or simply practical, this moment is a perfect example of Princess Anne's no-nonsense approach to her public duties. Number 4. The famous "not bloody likely" comment. One of Princess Anne's most famous public moments came when she was asked whether she would ever curtsy to the Queen. Her sharp reply, "not bloody likely," instantly revealed her rebellious side. In just 3 words, Princess Anne made it clear that she wasn't one to blindly follow royal traditions. While some viewed the comment as disrespectful, others saw it as a refreshing glimpse into Princess Anne's fiercely independent spirit. She's always been a royal who does things her way, unafraid to break from the expected norms. This famous comment encapsulates so much of what makes Princess Anne who she is. A woman who values substance over formality, who believes respect is earned, not performed. For Princess Anne, her relationship with the Queen was more about family and duty than ceremonial gestures, and her sharp words are a testament to that attitude. Number 5. Her dismissal of public criticism. Over the years, Princess Anne's been the subject of public scrutiny, whether for her lifestyle, her attitude, or her refusal to conform to royal norms. But in classic Princess Anne fashion, she's never been one to let public opinion dictate her actions. When asked about how she deals with public criticism, her response was characteristically curt. She simply doesn't care what others think. This blunt dismissal of outside opinions may come across as cold, but for Princess Anne, it's about staying focused on what really matters. She's always been more concerned with fulfilling her duties than with pleasing the public. In a world where public figures are often swayed by public opinion, Princess Anne's refusal to engage with criticism is a rare trait. It speaks to her strength of character and her deep commitment to her role, no matter what the headlines say. Number 6. Ignoring royal fans at events. While most royals are known for their charm and approachability, Princess Anne's often taken a different approach. There have been numerous occasions where Princess Anne's walked right past enthusiastic royal fans at public events without so much as a glance in their direction. To many, this seems like a stark contrast to her more personable family members, who are often seen shaking hands, taking photos, and engaging with the crowd. But Princess Anne's always been more focused on the event itself rather than the pageantry around it. Her duty in her eyes is to attend the event and represent the monarchy, not to engage in what she may see as unnecessary interactions. While some see this as cold, it's just another example of Princess Anne's no-nonsense attitude toward her public role. For her, it's about efficiency and getting the job done, not charming the crowds. Number 7. The time she refused to shake hands with well-wishers. In a moment that perfectly encapsulates Princess Anne's practical and somewhat aloof nature, she once refused to shake hands with a line of well-wishers at a public event. When asked why, she responded that she found the gesture unnecessary. This blunt refusal to engage in what many would see as a common courtesy left a lasting impression on those in attendance. But Princess Anne's reaction is less about coldness and more about her practical view of public engagements. She's always believed in doing what's required of her without engaging in what she sees as unnecessary rituals. While shaking hands may be a simple way to connect with the public, to Princess Anne, it's an impractical gesture that doesn't add much to her role. Whether you see it as cold or just efficient, this moment highlights Princess Anne's pragmatic approach to her duties as a royal. Number 8. Her blunt comment about the media. Princess Anne's never hidden her disdain for the media, and she famously criticized journalists by saying they invent stories to make themselves feel important. This sharp comment wasn't just a passing remark. It was a clear indication of Princess Anne's long-standing frustration with the way the media covers the royal family. Over the years, she's been one of the least accessible royals when it comes to the press, preferring to keep her private life private and her public engagements strictly professional. Her bluntness toward the media reflects her broader attitude towards fame. She doesn't seek it, and she certainly doesn't cater to it. For Princess Anne, the constant scrutiny from the press is a nuisance, and her sharp words reflect her deep-seated belief that the media often sensationalizes stories rather than reporting the truth. Number 9. Her cold reaction to King Charles' divorce. The dissolution of King Charles' marriage to Princess Diana was one of the most publicized events in royal history. And while many in the royal family showed sympathy for King Charles during this difficult time, Princess Anne was not one of them. Reports suggest that Princess Anne showed little emotion or sympathy towards her brother during his very public and painful divorce. Some saw her reaction as cold, but for those who knew Princess Anne, it was likely her way of staying out of the drama. Princess Anne's never been one to engage in emotional theatrics, and her stoic response was likely her way of dealing with a situation she couldn't control. Rather than offering emotional support, Princess Anne chose to maintain her usual detached demeanor, focusing on her own duties rather than getting involved in the personal struggles of her brother. Number 10. Her infamous exchange with a police officer. During a public event, Princess Anne made headlines for telling a police officer to get out of my way when he attempted to guide her. This curt exchange caught the attention of the media, with many questioning why Princess Anne would react so sharply in such a public setting. But for Princess Anne, who'd always valued efficiency and independence, the officer's guidance was likely seen as an unnecessary interference. This moment highlights Princess Anne's impatience with what she views as unnecessary protocol. While most royals would politely follow the officer's lead, Princess Anne's response was a stark reminder of her no-nonsense approach to her public role. For her, there's little time for pleasantries or formalities, especially when she feels they're getting in the way of her duties. Number 11. Her terse response to a royal wedding question. When asked about her thoughts on royal weddings, Princess Anne didn't mince words. Her flat response, "I'm not interested in them," was a clear indication of her disinterest in the media hype surrounding royal events. While royal weddings are often seen as grand occasions that celebrate the monarchy, Princess Anne's blunt dismissal showed that she doesn't share the same enthusiasm. For her, royal weddings are just another event on the calendar, not something to get excited about. This response reflects Princess Anne's practical, almost cynical view of royal life. While others may see the pomp and ceremony as an essential part of being royal, Princess Anne's always focused on the work behind the scenes. Her sharp comment is just another example of how she views her role, less about the spectacle and more about the substance. Number 12. Her dismissal of climate change activists. In a conversation about environmental issues, Princess Anne made headlines for a surprisingly indifferent comment about climate change efforts, calling them overhyped. This remark was seen by many as cold and out of touch, particularly in an era where environmental concerns are at the forefront of public discourse. But Princess Anne's always been one to speak her mind, even when her opinions aren't popular. Her dismissal of climate activism reflects her broader skepticism of media-driven causes. While she supported numerous environmental initiatives throughout her life, Princess Anne's sharp comment suggests she has little patience for what she sees as alarmism. For Princess Anne, real change comes from practical action, not from what she might view as overly dramatic public campaigns. Number 13. When she showed no emotion after an attempted kidnapping. One of the most remarkable moments in Princess Anne's life was the attempted kidnapping in 1974. After a gunman attempted to abduct her, Princess Anne remained calm and composed throughout the ordeal, showing little outward emotion. While most people would have been shaken by such a traumatic event, Princess Anne's response was characteristically stoic. She later recounted the event with a sense of detachment, downplaying the danger and focusing instead on how she handled the situation. Her lack of emotion during and after the event is a testament to her incredible mental strength and resilience. For Princess Anne, there was no need to show fear or vulnerability, even in such a life-threatening situation. Her response was a clear example of her ability to stay calm under pressure, no matter the circumstances. Number 14. Her stern attitude at a public engagement in the rain. During a public event held in less than ideal weather, Princess Anne's irritation was clear. As the rain poured down, Princess Anne made a sarcastic comment about the lack of proper planning, leaving little doubt about her frustration. While other royals might have put on a brave face and smiled through the discomfort, Princess Anne's reaction was a reminder that she doesn't hide her feelings, even in public. Her stern attitude may have come across as cold to some, but it's just another example of her no-nonsense approach to royal duties. For Princess Anne, the rain wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a failure of planning, and she wasn't going to pretend otherwise. Her sarcastic remark was a reflection of her practical mindset. If something isn't working, there's no point in pretending it is. Number 15. The time she criticized other royals' parenting styles. Princess Anne's never been one to shy away from offering her opinion, even when it comes to something as personal as parenting. In a public comment, Princess Anne criticized the parenting styles of other royals, offering blunt, unsympathetic advice that many viewed as overly harsh. For Princess Anne, who raised her own children with a sense of independence and practicality, the more hands-on approach of other royals likely seemed unnecessary. Her criticism wasn't meant to be cruel, it was simply her way of offering what she believed to be sound advice. But in typical Princess Anne fashion, her words were delivered with a sharpness that left little room for interpretation. Whether you agree with her or not, it's clear that Princess Anne has strong opinions about how children should be raised, and she's not afraid to voice them. Number 16. Her cold response to public affection for Diana. Princess Diana was beloved by the public, and her death left a lasting impact on people around the world. But Princess Anne's never been one to follow public sentiment, and her dismissive comments about the public's adoration for Diana have been seen by many as unsympathetic. While other members of the royal family have embraced Diana's legacy, Princess Anne's remained more detached, offering little in the way of public praise or acknowledgement. Her cold response to the outpouring of public affection for Diana is a reflection of her broader attitude toward public opinion. For Princess Anne, the adoration of the public is fleeting, and she's never been one to chase after it. Her focus has always been on her duties, not on winning over the public, and her response to the Diana phenomenon is just another example of that. Number 17. The time she walked ahead of the Queen. Royal protocol dictates that no one should walk ahead of the Queen. But in a public appearance, Princess Anne did just that. Walking ahead of Queen Elizabeth, Princess Anne broke one of the most well-known royal rules, showing her independent streak in the process. This moment didn't go unnoticed, and it became a talking point for royal watchers who viewed it as a sign of Princess Anne's no-nonsense attitude. While some saw it as disrespectful, others interpreted it as a reflection of Princess Anne's confidence and independence. For Princess Anne, royal protocol is less important than getting the job done. And if that means walking ahead of the Queen to keep things moving, so be it. This moment is just another example of how Princess Anne isn't afraid to bend the rules when she feels it's necessary. Number 18. Her sharp comments about the younger royals. Princess Anne's always been a bit of a traditionalist, and she hasn't been shy about sharing her opinions on the younger generation of royals. In a public comment, Princess Anne criticized the younger royals, stating that they're too soft and need to toughen up. This sharp critique left many wondering whether Princess Anne's views were out of touch with the modern world. But for Princess Anne, who grew up in a much stricter royal environment, the idea of royals being overly sensitive or emotional likely seems foreign. Her comments weren't meant to be hurtful. They were simply a reflection of her belief in the importance of resilience and toughness, values that have shaped her own life. Whether you agree with her or not, there's no denying that Princess Anne has high standards for what it means to be royal, and she isn't afraid to voice them. Love her or find her a bit too blunt, there's no denying that Princess Anne marches to the beat of her own drum. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think her cold side is just part of her charm? Or do these moments show a royal who's out of touch? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more royal videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.